Your phone buzzes. You are not expecting anything important. You check it anyway. Within seconds, your thumb is already moving toward the screen, and you don't remember deciding to do that. It just happened. But the real answer for why it happened is far stranger than willpower, or addiction, or bad habits. It starts almost 3 million years ago, on a dry stretch of grassland, in a body that had no idea a phone would ever exist. Your ancestors did not check their phones. They checked the horizon. Every few minutes, without thinking about it, their eyes swept the tall grass. Was that movement a lion? Was that rustle wind, or something hungry? The humans who stopped checking did not get a second chance to learn from the mistake. The humans who kept checking passed on the habit, wired straight into the nervous system. You are descended from the checkers, not the ignorers. This is called vigilance. Not the dramatic, wide-eyed kind you see in movies. A quiet, constant background scan. Psychologist Jake Panksepp spent decades studying what he called the seeking system, a deep brain circuit shared across mammals that drives them to explore, to sniff around, to investigate anything new. It is not about finding food or safety specifically. It is about the searching itself. The system rewards the act of looking, before it even knows what it is looking for. Sit with that for a second. Your brain didn't evolve to reward you for finding answers. It evolved to reward you for looking. That distinction changes everything about the buzz in your pocket. Here is where the story gets stranger. In the 1950s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner ran an experiment with pigeons and a lever. Press the lever, get a food pellet. Simple enough. But Skinner didn't stop there. He changed the rules. Instead of a pellet every time, the lever would sometimes give food, and sometimes give nothing, on no fixed pattern at all. The pigeons could never predict which press would work. What happened next surprised even Skinner. The pigeons given random, unpredictable rewards pressed the lever far more obsessively than the pigeons who got a pellet every single time. Predictable reward, oddly enough, is boring. Unpredictable reward is consuming. Skinner called this a variable ratio reinforcement schedule, and it remains one of the most replicated findings in behavioral psychology. It is also, whether by design or by accident, the exact mechanism sitting inside every notification you have ever received. Sometimes you check your phone and there's nothing. Sometimes there's a message that makes your whole day better. You never know which one it will be. That not knowing is not a flaw in the system. It is the entire engine. Your ancestors lived inside a version of this same uncertainty, just with higher stakes. Checking the horizon didn't always reveal a predator. Most of the time, it revealed nothing at all. Grass. Sky. Silence. But every so often, that scan revealed food, or danger, or an opportunity worth acting on immediately. The brain that scanned constantly, despite mostly finding nothing, was the brain that survived the one time something was actually there. You inherited that exact brain. It just moved indoors. Neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky, who spent years studying stress and reward in primates, found something that reframes the entire idea of craving. Dopamine, the chemical everyone blames for addiction, doesn't spike most strongly when you receive a reward. It spikes when you anticipate one, especially when that reward is uncertain. In Sapolsky's research, monkeys trained to expect a reward with 50% uncertainty showed dopamine activity far higher than monkeys who knew a reward was guaranteed. The waiting was the high point, not the getting. Read that again, because it explains almost everything about your phone. The dopamine doesn't hit when you see the message. It hits in the half second before you unlock the screen, when the outcome is still unknown. You are not addicted to your phone. You are addicted to the moment just before you know what's on it. This is why silence is somehow louder than sound. A phone with no notifications doesn't feel neutral. It feels like a small, nagging question mark, sitting in your pocket, unanswered. Ancient humans experienced something similar whenever the environment went quiet for too long. Silence in the grasslands wasn't peaceful. It was suspicious. Predators go quiet before they strike. Birds go quiet when something dangerous is near. Total stillness was often the loudest warning sign your ancestors ever received. So your brain built a rule, long before language, long before agriculture, long before anything resembling a screen. Uncertainty demands checking. Silence demands investigation. Not because something is definitely wrong, but because the cost of missing something real was so much higher than the cost of checking and finding nothing. Multiply that instinct by 100 checks a day, and you get modern life. Here's the twist that makes this even stranger. Your body cannot tell the difference between a social threat and a physical one. When a message goes unanswered, or a group chat goes quiet after you sent something vulnerable, your nervous system doesn't file that under minor social inconvenience. It files it under the same category as movement in tall grass. Something has changed in the environment. Attention required. Immediately. This is why an unanswered text can produce something close to real anxiety. It is not dramatic, and it is not irrational. It is a 50,000-year-old alarm system responding to modern static because it has no idea the static is modern. As far as your brain is concerned, a silent phone and a silent field mean roughly the same thing. Pay attention now, just in case. There's a deeper layer underneath all of this, and it has to do with belonging, not just danger. For nearly all of human history, humans lived in small bands, rarely more than 150 people, everyone known, everyone watched, everyone watching back. Being noticed by the group wasn't a nice bonus. It was survival infrastructure. Exile from the group, in a world without supermarkets or locked doors, was close to a death sentence. So the brain built another instinct alongside vigilance for danger, vigilance for social standing. Are people responding to me? Am I still visible? Am I still part of this? A notification is not just information. It is, at the oldest level of your nervous system, evidence that you still exist inside the group. That is a heavy thing to hang on a small glass rectangle. But your biology doesn't know it's a rectangle. It only knows the pattern. Uncertainty. Possible reward. Possible relevance to your place in the group. Check now. None of this makes you weak, or lazy, or broken. It makes you exactly what several million years of selection built you to be, an organism that could not afford to stop scanning. The tragedy, if there is one, is not that this instinct exists. It's that it was built for grasslands with maybe a dozen genuine events per day, and it now runs inside an environment engineered to generate hundreds. The scanning instinct itself is ancient and mostly harmless. What changed is the frequency of triggers, not the wiring behind them. Understanding this doesn't switch the instinct off. You are not going to out-argue 3 million years of neural architecture with a single insight. But there is something quietly useful in knowing what is actually happening in that half second before you check. You are not weak-willed. You are not failing at self-control. You are a very old kind of animal, responding to a very old kind of signal, in an environment that has learned to manufacture that signal on demand. Tonight, your phone will buzz again. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's someone who matters. You still won't know until you look, and that not knowing will still pull at you exactly the way an unexplained rustle in the grass once pulled at someone who lived long before phones, before language, before any of this. You will check it anyway. Not because you're distracted. Because somewhere behind your eyes, a very old and very patient part of you is still standing at the edge of the grass, watching for movement, refusing to look away.